We're here today with Tracy Groot, author of the novel Madman, which is a story of the Gerasene Demoniac of the Gospels, which you may know better as Legion. So Tracy, tell us what attracted you to the story of this Gerasene Demoniac. He's kind of an obscure figure in the Gospel. He's not brought up that much. There's only a handful of verses about him.
He first interested me when I was doing research for The Brother's Keeper, a novel about one of the brothers of Jesus, James. And I had one of the brothers try and authenticate some of the miracles that Jesus did. And one of the miracles I just sort of randomly chose was the miracle of the casting out of the spirits for the Gerasene Demoniac. He captured me for two reasons. Who was this guy? And who loved him enough to shackle him? The Bible has the imagery of the broken shackles. So that was in my head when I did the research, and I knew I'd write about him someday.
Very good. Tell me a little about the setting of this book.
It's set in Gerasenes, which is on the eastern side of the Galilee. The time is right around 30 AD. And there are a lot of different cultures involved. We have the Parthians, we have the Greeks, we have the Romans, we have the Jews. So culturally, you have a lot of stuff going on.
It's interesting that the main character, Talus, starts looking at one mystery, but then discovers a much bigger mystery. Can you talk a little bit about that process?
Right. The whole reason why Talus was in Palestine is because their principal academy in Greece stopped receiving reports from Palestine. So he was sent by the philosopher to find out why, what's going on, why haven't we received these updates about the school's progress. So when Talus arrives in Palestine, he finds out that not only is the school not there, it wasn't there for 3 years. So the question is, who kept up these false reports of
why?
And why? So that is, the mystery first was, that they stopped receiving the reports. The second mystery is, what in the world happened to this academy? That it is dispersed and nobody wants to talk about it. He questions people in the marketplace. He questions the villagers, and nobody wants to talk about it.
You did a lot of research for this book. What were some of the more interesting things that you discovered?
Well, one of the things which was completely unexpected to me was the discovery of the name of the Gerasene Demoniac, the actual name. His name was Cardus. And this little tidbit was actually passed down through generations until it was recorded in a 9th century parchment. This little nugget of information I found quite unexpectedly in an excavation report, of all things, of the village of Gerasenes, published by the Israeli Antiquities Division in 1983. I didn't find this in any Christian source. It was a Jewish source. So I just thought it was fascinating.
Yeah, that's really interesting. One of the things that surprised me when I was reading the novel is that at the heart of it, it's really a mystery/thriller. What made you turn a biblical event into a book of this genre?
That's what would interest me, reading a biblical story. Give me context, give me something to move into the story. So I created something that I could move into the story with, something that captivated me enough and made me interested enough to keep writing about it. And I'm a big
suspense.
Right, and I'm a big suspense mystery fan, and so I wanted to have fun with it and create a mystery, create an adventure, create a thriller-esque type of book, and have something at the heart of it that was relevant and interesting.
If there's one thing that readers can take away from this novel, what would you want them to get out of it?
I don't traditionally write a novel with an aim, with an agenda, because I find those kind of novels dreadfully dull to read. Don't give me a novel that has set out to teach me or preach at me. But there are elements that happen in the writing of a novel, when a novelist sticks to telling the truth of the story, that those truths become dear to that novelist. There are a couple of things in here. One of them, Samir, the Parthian slave. He comes from a tribe where they have a credo. The credo is two truths. The first truth is that you can choose. The second truth is that you cannot choose for another. And I love that imagery. I love that idea. And I also love Talus's rebuttal of that. He says to Samir, well and good, you have the two truths. That's just great, Samir. But what if hell stands between me and my choice? What do I do then?
Very good. Well, thank you very much, Tracy. I read this book myself, and I strongly agree with Publishers Weekly in their review when they talked about that this book was a departure from a lot of historical fiction. It really is a strong book. It's a literary book. It's well written. It's well researched, and I encourage you to read it for yourself.